Vanessa just couldn't stop herself. She was falling for a college student, someone she had just hired for her driving lessons. He was 4 years younger than her, but that didn't matter. At first, she tried to keep things professional, but staying professional wasn't going to be easy with him being around her every day. At this point, Vanessa knew she would cross a line she promised she wouldn't. Vanessa Kerrigan was 29. She had everything she thought she wanted: a six-figure salary as a marketing executive at one of the most prestigious firms in the city, a luxury apartment in the heart of downtown, the respect of her colleagues. But as she looked at her reflection in the dark computer screen, she felt nothing but emptiness. 3 months had passed since she ended things with Julian. 3 years of her life spent with a man who slowly made her world smaller. He drove everywhere. He made the decisions. He told her what she was good at and what she was not. And somewhere along the way, Vanessa forgot how to trust herself. Now, sitting alone in her office, Vanessa made a decision. She pulled out her phone and searched for driving instructors near me. If she was going to rebuild her life, she would start with something she should have done years ago. She would learn to drive. The search results loaded. Most of the driving schools were expensive and had waiting lists. But one listing caught her eye. Drive Right Lessons, affordable rates, flexible schedule, patient instruction. The reviews were glowing. "Tyrone is amazing," one review read. "My teenage daughter was terrified of driving, and he made her feel confident in just a few weeks." Vanessa clicked on the booking link and scheduled her first lesson for Saturday morning. When Saturday arrived, Vanessa stood outside her apartment building, nervously checking her watch. A white sedan pulled up to the curb, and a young man stepped out. He was tall, lean, with an easy confidence in the way he moved. He wore a simple black shirt and jeans, and when he smiled, it was warm and genuine. "Good morning," he said, extending his hand. "You must be Vanessa. I am Tyrone." Vanessa shook his hand, caught off guard by how young he looked. She had expected someone older, maybe a retired driving instructor with decades of experience. Not this. "Nice to meet you," she said, trying to mask her surprise. Tyrone opened the passenger door for her, then walked around to the driver's side. "All right," he said as he settled into the seat. "Before we start, I just want you to know there is no pressure here. Everyone learns at their own pace. My job is to make sure you feel comfortable and confident. Sound good?" Vanessa nodded, gripping her purse a little too tightly. They spent the first 20 minutes in an empty parking lot. Tyrone walked her through the basics: the pedals, the mirrors, the turn signals. His voice was calm and steady, never condescending. When Vanessa stalled the car twice in a row, she felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. "I am sorry," she muttered. "I am terrible at this." Tyrone shook his head. "You are not terrible. You are learning. There is a difference. Try again." She did. This time, the car moved forward smoothly. "There you go," Tyrone said, grinning. "See? You have got this." By the end of the lesson, Vanessa had successfully driven around the parking lot without stalling once. It was a small victory, but it felt monumental. As Tyrone pulled up to her building, he turned to her. "Same time next week?" Vanessa hesitated, then nodded. Yes, same time. Over the next few weeks, the lessons continued. Vanessa was a challenging student. She overthought every move, second-guessed herself constantly, and apologized for every tiny mistake. But Tyrone never lost his patience. One afternoon, during her 5th lesson, Vanessa nearly hit a curb while attempting to parallel park. She slammed on the brakes, her heart racing. "I cannot do this," she said, her voice shaking. Tyrone stayed calm. "Yes, you can. You just got in your own head. Let us try again. I will just mess it up again. Maybe. Or maybe you will get it right. Only one way to find out." Vanessa took a deep breath and tried again. This time, she nailed it. Tyrone laughed. "See? I told you." As the weeks passed, something shifted. The lessons stopped feeling like just lessons. Between driving instructions, they talked. Really talked. Tyrone asked questions that no one else seemed to care about. Why did you wait until now to learn? What do you do when you are not working? What makes you happy? Vanessa found herself opening up in ways she had not in years. She told him about Julian, about how small she had felt in that relationship, about how she was trying to reclaim parts of herself she had lost. Tyrone listened without judgment. Then he shared his own story. He grew up with a single mother who worked 3 jobs to keep the lights on. He watched her sacrifice everything so he could go to college. Now, he was in his final year, studying business management, running his driving lesson side hustle to pay tuition and help his younger sister afford school. "I promised my mom I would build something," he said one evening as they sat in the car after a lesson. "Something so she would not have to work herself to the bone anymore." Vanessa was struck by his determination, his maturity. He was 25, but he carried himself with a wisdom that felt older. By the 3rd week, Vanessa noticed something she had not expected. She looked forward to Saturdays. She started dressing a little nicer on lesson days, wearing perfume, laughing more. One evening, they finished a lesson early and ended up sitting in a parking lot as the sun set. The conversation flowed easily. Dreams, fears, embarrassing childhood stories. Tyrone told her about his idea for a tech platform that would connect college students with flexible gig work. Vanessa, with her marketing background, started brainstorming with him. "You could partner with local businesses," she said, her eyes lighting up. "Offer them a pipeline of reliable workers and take a small commission. It is scalable." Tyrone stared at her, impressed. That is actually brilliant." There was a moment of silence. The air between them shifted, charged with something unspoken. Vanessa felt her heart beat a little faster. She glanced at Tyrone and found him looking at her in a way that made her breath catch. She cleared her throat. "I should probably go. Same time Thursday?" Tyrone nodded slowly. "Yeah, same time." But neither of them moved right away. Thursday came, and Vanessa found herself checking her reflection 3 times before heading downstairs. She told herself it was just a driving lesson, nothing more. But when Tyrone pulled up and smiled at her through the windshield, her stomach fluttered in a way she could not ignore. The lesson itself felt different. Vanessa was less focused on the road and more aware of how close Tyrone sat in the passenger seat. The way his hand gestured when he explained something. The sound of his laugh when she made a self-deprecating joke. She wore the perfume he had complimented the week before, and she noticed him notice. After the lesson, as Tyrone pulled up to her building, Vanessa hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Non-driving related." Tyrone raised an eyebrow. "Sure. I am working on a campaign pitch for a new client, and I could use a fresh perspective. Would you maybe want to grab coffee? Just for 20 minutes? Tyrone smiled. "Yeah, I would like that." They ended up at a small cafe 2 blocks away, sitting across from each other in a corner booth. What started as a 20-minute coffee consultation turned into 2 hours. They talked about her campaign, yes, but also about everything else. Music, movies, the pressure of living up to expectations. Tyrone opened up about the weight he carried. Being the first in his family to finish college, the fear of letting his mother down, the nights he stayed up wondering if he was doing enough. Vanessa saw herself in his words. "I know that feeling," she said quietly. "My whole life, I have been chasing some version of success that I thought would make me happy. But when I finally got it, I just felt empty." Tyrone leaned forward. "So, what makes you happy?" Vanessa paused. "Honestly, these lessons. Talking to you. Feeling like I can be myself without pretending." The words hung in the air between them. Tyrone held her gaze. "I feel the same way." That night, as Vanessa lay in bed, she replayed the conversation in her mind. This was dangerous. She knew it. But she could not stop thinking about him. The next week, during their 8th lesson, they went for a longer drive. Tyrone took her on the highway for the first time. Vanessa gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white, but Tyrone talked her through it with that same steady calm. "You are doing great," he said. "Just keep your speed steady. Breathe." By the time they exited, Vanessa felt exhilarated. She had done it. Celebrate with ice cream? Tyrone suggested. They ended up at a small ice cream parlor, sitting on a bench outside as the evening sun cast everything in golden light. Tyrone told her about the business competition his university was hosting. A $10,000 prize for the best startup pitch. You should enter, Vanessa said. Your idea is solid. Tyrone shrugged. Maybe. I do not know if it is good enough. Vanessa looked at him seriously. It is, and you are. Something in his expression softened. Thank you for believing in me. I mean it, she said. Their eyes met, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Tyrone looked away, clearing his throat. We should probably head back. The lessons continued, but the line between professional and personal blurred more each week. Vanessa's best friend Simone noticed the change immediately. You are glowing, Simone said during their weekly brunch. What is going on? Vanessa deflected. Nothing. Just work is good. Simone narrowed her eyes. It is the driving instructor, is it not? Vanessa's silence was answer enough. Simone leaned back, studying her. So what is the problem? Vanessa listed the reasons like she had rehearsed them. He is 25. I am his client. People would judge. It is unprofessional. It would never work. Simone sipped her mimosa. Or maybe you are just scared because this one feels real. Vanessa did not have an answer for that. Meanwhile, Tyrone was dealing with his own doubts. His roommate Jamal caught him staring at his phone one evening, clearly distracted. It is that client, is it not? Jamal said. The one you have been talking about. Tyrone sighed. Her name is Vanessa. Jamal sat down across from him. Look, man, I get it. But be careful. That is your income. And what is someone like her going to want with a broke college student? Tyrone bristled. It is not like that. Then what is it like? Tyrone did not know how to explain it. She is different, smart, real. When I am with her, I do not feel like just some kid hustling to pay rent. I feel like I matter. Jamal softened. Just be smart about it. That is all I am saying. Lesson 12 arrived on a rainy afternoon. The weather forecast had predicted light showers, but by the time they were halfway through the lesson, it was pouring. Tyrone suggested they pull over and wait it out in a covered parking garage. They sat in the car, rain drumming on the roof, creating a cocoon of sound around them. The silence between them was heavy, with everything unsaid. Vanessa finally spoke. Can I tell you something? Tyrone turned to her. Of course. These lessons, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. They are the best part of my week. Tyrone swallowed. Mine too. The space between them felt impossibly small. Vanessa could see the rise and fall of his chest, the way his eyes searched hers. This is crazy, she said, pulling back slightly. I am 4 years older. You are my instructor. I am supposed to be getting my life together. Not whatever this is. Not what? Tyrone said, his voice low. Feeling something real? Vanessa looked away. We cannot. Why not? Because, Vanessa said, frustration creeping into her voice. Because people will talk. Because it is complicated. Because I do not know how to do this. Tyrone was quiet for a moment. Then he said, If I am making you uncomfortable, I can refer you to another instructor. No, Vanessa said quickly. I do not want that. Then what do you want? Vanessa? She could not answer. The rain continued to fall. The next lesson was stiff, formal. Both of them trying desperately to maintain boundaries that had already been crossed. But the tension was unbearable. After the lesson, as Vanessa unbuckled her seatbelt, Tyrone spoke. Look, if this is too much, just say so. I will back off. Vanessa turned to him, and before she could stop herself, the words tumbled out. I do not want you to back off. That is the problem. Then, 2 weeks later, Vanessa passed her driving test. She texted Tyrone immediately, and he insisted on one final lesson to celebrate. They drove to a scenic overlook outside the city, parking where they could see the lights below. They ended up sitting in the open trunk, legs dangling, the night air cool around them. "You did it," Tyrone said, smiling at her. "I could not have without you," Vanessa said. "You taught me more than just driving. You reminded me that I could do hard things." "You did all the hard work," Tyrone said. I just did not want it to end." Vanessa felt her chest tighten. "Neither did I." Tyrone turned to her, his expression serious. "I have to tell you something. I have feelings for you, Vanessa, real ones, and I think you feel something too." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "Of course I do. But Tyrone, you are 25. You should be with someone your own age, someone without all my baggage, someone who is not you?" Tyrone interrupted. "That is not what I want." Before she could think, Vanessa leaned in and kissed him. It was brief, impulsive, and when she pulled away, panic flooded her face. "I am sorry," she said, standing abruptly. "I should not have done that. This was a mistake." "Vanessa," Tyrone started, but she was already walking to her car. She drove away, leaving Tyrone standing alone in the darkness, watching her taillights disappear. 1 week passed. 7 days of silence that felt like an eternity. Vanessa threw herself into work, staying late at the office, accepting every meeting, every project, anything to keep her mind occupied. But at night, alone in her apartment, all she could think about was Tyrone. The way he looked at her, the way he made her feel seen. Simone showed up unannounced on Friday evening, letting herself in with the spare key Vanessa had given her years ago. She found Vanessa on the couch, laptop open, pretending to work. "All right, enough," Simone said, closing the laptop. "You look miserable." "I am fine," Vanessa said automatically. "You are not fine. You have not been fine since you ran away from that boy." Vanessa flinched. "I did not run away. I made a rational decision." Simone sat down beside her. "You ran. And you know why? Because for once in your life, something felt real and it terrified you." Vanessa's composure cracked. "Everyone will judge us, Simone. My colleagues will whisper. His friends will think I am some older woman taking advantage. Strangers will stare. The age difference, it will always be there." Simone took her hand. "When did you become someone who lives for other people's approval?" "The Vanessa I know does not let fear make her decisions." Vanessa wiped at her eyes. "What if it does not work? What if we try and it falls apart?" "What if it does work?" Simone countered. "What if you spend the rest of your life wondering what could have been because you were too afraid to find out?" Across town, Tyrone sat in his apartment, staring at his laptop screen. The business competition results had been posted an hour ago. He had won $10,000. His idea, the platform he and Vanessa had brainstormed together, had beaten out 30 other proposals. His roommate Jamal whooped and clapped him on the back. "Man, you did it! This is huge!" Tyrone managed a smile, but it felt hollow. The first person he wanted to tell was Vanessa, but after what happened at the Overlook, he did not know if he had the right to call her. Jamal noticed his friend's silence. "You are thinking about her." Tyrone nodded. "Look," Jamal said, his tone softer than usual. "I know I gave you a hard time before, but I have never seen you like this about anyone. If she makes you feel this way, maybe it is worth fighting for." Tyrone looked at his phone, then at the competition results on his screen. Maybe it was time to stop waiting. The next evening, Vanessa was leaving her office building when she saw him. Tyrone stood by the entrance, hands in his pockets, looking nervous but determined. Her heart stopped. "Tyrone," she breathed, "what are you doing here?" "I won," he said. "The pitch competition, the business idea we talked about. I won." Vanessa felt a surge of pride and joy. "That is amazing. I am so proud of you." "Are you?" Tyrone asked, his voice tight. "Because you walked away. You made me feel like what we had meant nothing." Vanessa stepped closer. "That is not true. It meant everything. That is why I left." "You left because you were scared," Tyrone said, frustration bleeding into his words. "You felt something real, and you ran." "You do not understand." Vanessa said, her own frustration rising. People will talk. They will say horrible things about us. About you. About me. I was trying to protect us both. From what? Tyrone demanded. From being happy? Because that is all you did, Vanessa. You found something that made you happy and you threw it away because you were afraid of what strangers might think. Vanessa felt tears prick her eyes. It is not that simple. It is exactly that simple, Tyrone said, stepping closer. I do not care what people say. I do not care about the age difference or the gossip or any of it. I care about you. I care that when I am with you, I feel like I matter. Not like some broke college kid, not like someone's charity case, but like someone who is seen, someone who is enough. His words hit her like a wave. You do matter, she said, her voice breaking. You matter more than anyone has in years. And that terrifies me. Tyrone reached for her hand. I am not Julian. I will not make you small. I will not take from you or control you. But I cannot force you to take a chance on this either. That has to be your choice. Vanessa looked down at their joined hands, then back up at his face. For so long, she had let fear guide her decisions. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. But standing here, looking at Tyrone, she realized the biggest mistake she had made was walking away. I have spent my whole life being afraid, she said quietly. Afraid of failing. Afraid of what people think. Afraid of not measuring up. But you know what scares me most? The thought of looking back in 10 years and regretting that I let you go. Tyrone squeezed her hand. So do not let me go. What if the age difference becomes a problem? Vanessa asked. What if people's opinions get to us? What if we try and it does not work? Then we will figure it out, Tyrone said. Together. But we will never know unless we try. And I would rather try and fail than spend my life wondering what if. Vanessa felt the last of her walls crumble. You are right. I am done being afraid. I am done living for other people's approval. I want this. I want us. Tyrone pulled her close, and she wrapped her arms around him. When they kissed, it felt like coming home. Like every fear, every doubt, every wall she had built around herself finally crumbling into nothing. They stood there for a long moment, holding each other as the city moved around them. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were smiling. So what now? Tyrone asked. Now, Vanessa said. We figure it out, one day at a time. 6 months later, Vanessa and Tyrone sat at a dinner party hosted by Simone. The table was full of friends, a mix of ages and backgrounds, all laughing and talking over plates of food and glasses of wine. Someone made a joke about their age difference, and instead of tensing up, Vanessa and Tyrone just laughed. It did not sting anymore. It was just part of their story. Later, as they drove home, Vanessa behind the wheel and Tyrone in the passenger seat, she glanced over at him. Thank you, she said. For what? For being patient with me. For not giving up. Tyrone smiled. You were worth the wait. Vanessa reached over and took his hand. So, where to next? Tyrone looked at her, his eyes full of warmth. Anywhere. As long as it is with you. Vanessa smiled, squeezed his hand, and drove forward into the night. She had learned more than just how to drive. She had learned how to trust herself, how to choose happiness over fear, how to live a life that was truly hers. And for the first time in a long time, she felt free.